All right, so everybody, I got Bix Weir. I got a email from him. He's, I'm on his subscriber list or whatever, or I subscribed to his emails. And it was like after Friday, I got home, and I just saw an email pop in. Bix Weir, like, red alert, CME and Thomson Reuters, they're calling it quits with the silver fix in relation to the LBMA, I guess, or whatever they've, as you were explaining to me a minute ago before I started recording, how CME Group in I don't know if it's a partnership or whatever, but with Reuters, they helped set the price fix of silver. And back in 2014, they used to do it through a phone call, and there was some bank that had a client, a customer, and if the price was above a certain number in silver, they had to pay a few $1 million to this customer. And they said if we could just get it below that, that they won't be able to. They'd have to roll their contract over or something. We wouldn't have to pay it out, something along those lines. And sure enough, they got on the phone with the old fix, and hey, the price of silver was knocked down. So a bunch of people were complaining about that. I remember doing a video about it. And then shortly after that, we all of a sudden hear, oh, we're getting away with the phone call part of this. We'll just do it digitally and whatnot. And I saw that. I'm like, well, is anything going to change? I mean, it's still, they set the fix or whatever. But anyway, so I got your email. You sent another one out after that about Ted, what's his name? Butler. Ted Butler. So I was just starting to read that before I pushed the call button to get you up on Skype. And it's a very long article where he's suspecting that maybe some of the same players who normally would go short at the end of last year have not. And he has a sneaky suspicion that maybe the tide is about to turn heavily for us silver investors. Possibly, he says, not sure, but thinks what he seeing is right. It may be. So what can you kind of go back to what you saw and what exactly has happened? Why should this concern anybody that's a silver investor? Is it just nothing, or is there something to this?
Well, first of all, we've been through this many, many times. It's kind of like the criminals keep getting caught and running and hiding, and then starting a new crime. So when they got rid of the silver fix in 2014, everybody's like, "Yeah, we got rid of the couple guys in behind the room who decide the silver price and tell the rest of the world what the physical silver price." We got rid of that, and then they put an auction. They tried to auction off who gets to do the next fix. They changed the name from the fix to the silver price, but it's the same exact thing. And the people who won the bid was Thomson Reuters, and along with the CME Group. CME Group would do the electronic auction via computers and a really twisted algorithmic way to determine the price. It's completely ridiculous. And then Thomson Reuters would announce it and be the regulator of it. Why in the world can't we just have a regular silver price where there's a buyer and there's a seller and there's a price? The reason we cannot have that is because the price of silver would go through the roof and everybody would know the fraud that's going on. Last year at the LBMA, this is the exchange we're talking about that has all this issues going on right now. Last year at the LBMA, they did 143 billion ounces of silver transferred, which is ridiculous. There's 60 billion ounces that's ever been mined in the history of the world, and yet last year somehow they transferred 143 billion ounces. It's such a fraud and such a criminal act, and that's the key. That's what I found out later on after I put the announcement out. It was a Reuters announcement, and it was a leak supposedly that came from Reuters right after the close of business. And then the LBMA put out an official statement saying, yes, the CME and Thomson Reuters are going to step down as the arbiters of the fix. Well, they didn't say the fix. They said of the benchmark silver price. Now, that's the key. Benchmark silver price. The European regulators back in September of last year set up a new regulation for benchmark pricing after the LIBOR pricing and all that fraud was uncovered. They still haven't uncovered the silver con, but I don't think they will ever announce that. But they did put in regulations that begin on January 1st, 2018. And in those regulations, it's illegal in Europe to price physical items on a derivative benchmark price. So all of a sudden, the LBMA says, oh my God, do we really have to announce real prices for real items? Or what are we going to do this? So they went to the CME and Reuters and said, you guys got to figure out a way that we can continue this game or we're in deep trouble, because then people will start pricing real silver, and we don't want that. So they went around and around for a few months since September, and they couldn't come up with a good idea on how to rig the markets. So they just got to run away. They can't. After January 1st in the European Union, at least, these rules and regulations say you can't use benchmarks to price physical silver. So they're in deep trouble, and it's kind of all happening as everything else is happening. The Ted Butler stuff, information, has to do with the COMEX, the electronic futures and options. From Ted's analysis, which is brilliant. The guy's unbelievable. Anybody who owns silver today can just give a head nod to Ted Butler for getting everybody into silver. But that situation is the technical funds were being played by the big bullion banks. Time and time again, they'd run the stops past the 200-day moving average and get all the technical funds to go long, and then they'd slam it down and do the same thing on the downside, just going back and forth. For years, decades, Ted watched this happen. And then the big news was, at the end of last year, the technical funds weren't shorting as much as they usually did. So that's why you haven't seen the big wild swings lately. I mean, I know we had a big swing. It wasn't even big. It was a big drop as far as we're used to these days of 60, 80 cents or something. But I remember days when it was $2, $3 drops and everybody would panic. Now there's no panic. The tech funds aren't falling for it, according to Ted, and he thinks this is a big sea change. And it's in line with all the things we've talked about on the road to Ruta, that the Fed is ready to destroy the system and go back to a more fair type of monetary system using gold. Trump saying he's going to drain the swamp. What's a bigger swamp than the COMEX?
Oh, my God.
The biggest swamp in the world. So, great news, very exciting stuff. We'll see what happens, though. And it fulfills a lot of Cliff High's language. Now, remember, you and I know that we keep saying Cliff always gets the silver timing wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think he does. I think he gets the language right. Like right now, we're talking about silver in a changed language. We're saying, oh my God, the London fix chain is bailing and everything's falling apart. All that language is going out there on the internet as we speak. That could be a web bot hit if you ask me. The language has changed, even though the price hasn't because it's rigged. I think the language is changing as we speak.
Well, I was just doing the summary, right? The WebBot summary, the latest one, just 2 days ago, whatever it was, and I'm thinking it was in that one, or was it the one before that? I think it was in this one, but he said something like, talk again with the language in silver, gold, Bitcoin, this and that, and then it gets to a point where the sentence was something like, silver was going to jump and when I first read it, it made me think, the price. And then he says, and let me be clear, we're not talking about price, but silver in itself, to talk about silver and whatnot. And I was like, oh, shoot, I thought he was concerned talking about the price. But then I caught it because he said, let me be clear, whatever, we're talking about silver as being talked about or whatever language. So the language and the data pouring into silver he saw the spike. So he said not to be confused with price. So here we have, as of Friday, what you just talked about happening. Nobody knew this. This WebBot could not possibly find this information on the internet. It didn't exist, right? But yet it made a weird prediction like this. And then we have this event that you just talked about that is directly related to the manipulation of silver prices. And this is like breaking. I got my inbox flooded by people that, did you see Big Weir's announcement? Here's the link. Yeah, guys, I got it.
All that language has been captured by Cliff's spiders out there, and the change in the language is what he measures. So, I mean, I think Cliff's been right all along. We talk about why silver should be $600. It should be. It's rigged 100% of the time, but it still should be $600. Now it should be a lot higher than $600. It should be moving up near 1-to-1 with gold, which I think it will this year, because they're not going to find someone else to take on the role that the CME and Reuters were playing, because you can't rig the silver market according to the EU regulators anymore. So it's a big problem for them. They're going to either have to go to a real silver market where people walk in with cash and walk out with physical metal, or they're just going to forget the whole thing, close down the LBMA, which is probably more a likelihood, because it was all fake derivative contracts, and it wasn't even contracts. It was an association, not an exchange.
Yeah, if we hear that happen, we get out here one day and hear that happen. LBMA is shutting this. Oh my God. I think that would be the most breaking news of precious metals of our lifetimes, and since the stupid thing was ever traded on these bogus exchanges.
But we'd have another wet bot hit too, because say the LBMA, which is the only physical exchange of silver in the whole world. There is no other physical exchange. COMEX is futures and options. Shanghai is just futures and options. There's no physical yet in Shanghai. So the
gold is though, right? I'm pretty sure
that there's a gold, right?
Yeah, okay.
The gold exchange, but they haven't done physical silver because they can't find the silver. They do futures and options, but they don't have a physical silver exchange. This is the only one. And the next WebBot hit will be the LBMA shuts down or no longer delivers or something like that, and the price still gets being priced on the COMEX, the electronic. You're going to have huge premiums on silver, $200, $300 premiums above the rigged COMEX price. And the big thing for me is that the COMEX investigations, the 3 silver investigations, big, long, drawn-out investigations. If you read them, they're complete BS. It is just the worst dance ever. They never consulted Ted Butler. Anybody could have ripped holes in their argument. Yep. But the number one reason they said that the COMEX was not rigged was that the price matched the physical price at the LBMA on each one of those. And
that's the only reason. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So the case closed. What the hell does that mean?
There's nothing left. There's no that. How can they even operate a futures and options market? They probably can't, because they're really interconnected in these contracts that they write, behind the scenes with the banks. So yeah, I think we're looking at pretty soon a shutdown of the entire fake exchange system, the fake system for silver, the fake system for electronic derivatives on silver, which is mostly what they're trading, which is a great thing. It's not going to happen tomorrow. Don't get all excited. Well, you can get all excited. Why not?
Sure.
I saw somebody put up another petition for the president on to stop rigging silver. Yeah. And I signed it. I think everybody should sign it. We did this years ago. We got over the 100,000 signatures we needed, and Obama didn't do anything about it. And I think the only thing they did do about it was jack the number you needed to 300,000, and we hit that number too, and they still didn't address it. So
isn't that amazing?
It's the biggest open secret in the world, because if the silver rigging falls down and falls apart, you got problems everywhere, because the trust in the dollar will go. It's just like gold. They have to rig the dollar. They have to rig the dollar, obviously. They have to rig silver. They have to rig gold, because to run an unbacked fiat monetary system, you can't have freely traded stuff. You got to control the price of oil. You got to control the price of it. And now it's just completely out of control. They're probably going to move it into hyperinflation. Cliff's Highs saying 125,000 for the Dow come this summer. I see that's easy. That's a computer click in the basement of the U.S. Treasury, but it's also going to do wonders for gold and silver and our favorite Bitcoin. Got to love the Bitcoin action these days.
And speaking of Bitcoin, I'm going to switch over my screen for a second. It gets you off of there. Here we go. Remember when he said the 8,888 won price, right? 88.88.
Yeah.
And that was the Chinese value. That is approximately 1291 US dollars. So I looked up this morning and said, let me do the conversion. Oh, we've hit it. 88 has happened in the Chinese currency, which is the equivalent of approximately 1290, 1291 US. So you look at this chart, and this is from yesterday and today, and here's 1289 right here. It's right there. Over here, it finally hits it, goes up, looks like a high of about 1294 or so, or 95, whatever. Keep going. There it is again, 1292. Here it is again. It's down, but it goes right back up. Got some sell-off, boom, right back up, 1291. And you can see if you just move this across, it's literally like it was, remember how the last time it was bounced around that $888 US? I understand it's just a day right now, too, from the 3rd to the 4th, but it's hovering right in that spot constantly, 1291. That was actually the number Cliff High said to look for. He said it's
But
going to go
remember,
to 1291.
yeah, yeah, and you know it's got to do with floors and ceilings. Now once it blows through there, it's going to have a nice floor there, so it's going to keep going. But 888 is, I mean, it's very spiritual number in China as far as money goes. I actually keep in my wallet a piece of paper with a bunch of eights on it for good luck on the monetary scene. But yeah, 888. But remember, Cliff also has in his data, I think it's by the end of the year, 88888. So add another 8 to that, and you're going to see, you know, and I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, it was 8. It was 80808 or something. Remember?
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
8080808.
8080808, something like that.
It's like 80,000 yuan.
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah,
huge
yeah.
U.S. dollars.
Yeah, it's $12,000, which is
Yeah, I got your email. You know, like I said, and I was like, oh crap, what is this about the CME group? Holy crap, you know. And I was like, wow, okay. I was like, oh, I'm gonna see if I can reach out to you. You mentioned you were going to dinner, so I said, you know, we'll chat tomorrow, which is today. And you know, I saw that and I thought, man, is this it with you know, this the good news? And I started thinking about some of what you said with the road to Ruta stuff. I'm like, you know, this kind of fits in with your road to
yeah.
Ruta theory, where we're kind of at and where we're going. And
It's not going to happen overnight, though. That's one of the keys. We get all excited in silver. We said, "Oh my
yeah,
God, this is it! You know, this is the end of the world." You know, there's still physical out there. J.P. Morgan has over 550 million ounces that they've accumulated, and supposedly, according to Ted, it's in their own book, so they have that. I think they'll hang on to it. And everybody's like, "Well, what if J.P. Morgan dumps 500 million ounces on the market?" I think that would be nothing. You know, right now, with the volumes we're looking at, that's a couple days worth of volume.
yeah,
Because it's the difference between the real stuff and the electronic stuff. The real stuff doesn't even trade on any exchange. So what? So what if they dump a 500 million ounces on any exchange? It doesn't trade.
right,
Real physical silver doesn't trade anywhere in the world. It's all electronic derivatives being traded back and forth. So no, physical silver, even if we ran out of silver, it wouldn't change the price. Yeah, you couldn't go out and buy some. It would probably jack the premiums for people who want to get rid of it. But the price is determined with futures, options, and derivatives on computer programs trading back and forth with each other on criminal exchanges that are self-regulating entities,
yep,
SREs. And it won't end until the United States is ready to go off the unbacked fiat monetary system. Now, with Trump in place and with the March 15th deadline for the debt ceiling to be
yep.
lifted, which is not going to be lifted, even more reason to crash the
You don't
dollar.
think let's talk about that. You don't think it's going to be lifted? Because I had a subscriber chat with me in on one of my videos. He goes, "Oh, I bet you they'll raise it again." And I said, "You know what? As much as everything my body says they probably will because they always do, I'm going to take it just a gentleman's bet. I don't know that they'll do it this time, and there may be reasons why they don't do it. So
You
that
should
some
have bet
things
him.
can happen."
You should have bet him some silver.
Nah,
You
just
should
a
have bet him an
gentleman's
ounce.
bet.
No, but yeah, no. The plan is to destroy the dollar. So no, they're not going to lift it. The U.S. Treasury probably has 2 or 3 months of shuffling around forms of money, which is good because they take money from the Exchange Stabilization Fund, and that's kind of their kitty for rigging the markets.
Yep.
But it was always the plan to destroy the currency. And it's why they've been saying, "Oh, we got to get our debt in order" since the 1970s,
And we
the
never
debt just
did.
goes woohoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was never the plan. No country in the history of the world has ever paid off their debt. It's just a fact. It's always defaulted upon or it is destroyed. And this time, the first time ever, there's an unbacked fiat monetary system that's global.
Yep.
It's just going to disappear in a rash of not even bankruptcies, collapses, banking collapses. You can already see Europe starting to go. Like our friend Lindsay Williams said, it'll happen in Europe, and in a couple of weeks it'll hit here. So yeah, and right now, I mean, look at our political system. Literally, they are fighting. The left wants Trump to go to jail, and the right wants all these crazy libtards to go away. And what are they doing? They're exposing the secrets of each side. And that's really exciting. Today was Obama tapped Trump's phone.
The new Watergate.
Yeah, and then CNN is talking about, Trump, the Attorney General talked to the Russian ambassador. That's grounds for firing. He should be, tried for treason.
He was a senator. You can't talk to him.
I know. And they're saying they're saying that because he talked to the Russian ambassador, it messed with the sanctity of our election system.
Yeah.
CNN, the same company that gave the questions of a debate to Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. You have the balls to say that.
How can you even say that talking to the Russian ambassador is messing with the sanctity of the U.S. election system when CNN is the one who was giving away free questions to the other side?
And you know what I love?
Completely ridiculous.
They like Trump. He'll say, "Oh, you bother me because my guy was meeting with them. Oh, here's you with them. Here's a picture of it. Remember that? Oh, Miss Pelosi. Here's you also with them. That's Medvedev across the table from her." And she replies, "Well, there's a difference between a secret meeting and one that was public with public news footage, pictures there. What's the difference? The news people didn't stand around when you guys had your talks. Who knew what you were talking about?"
Well, they're really, really desperate now. It's not political anymore. It's life or death for them.
It is,
because Jeff Sessions is gonna pull the Pizzagate card and take out all the pedophiles. That's about a third of Congress is going to go down in this, Republicans and Democrats, and they're scared to death. That's why John McCain's saying that Trump's got to, even the Republicans are going against Trump because they're going to be dragged down in this.
What the Webbot reports say. Don't be surprised when the pedophile stuff goes down. That when you see the right, left being the Democrats, the right being the Republicans, when the right starts getting nailed for some of quite a few, just as much as the Democrats, maybe even more, he said in the report. I remember, and I don't know how long you've been following the Webbot report, but this was years ago, and there was a data dump one time that just had a lot of information on the future politics, and it kind of talked about the crap that's like going on right now. And how it'd be in disarray, and that it was just going to be this time period where you see public officials, especially congressmen and women, senators and whatnot, being not necessarily let go, but just that one dropped. Whether they're taking a plea like, okay, don't expose me and I'll quit, or they're being exposed and being thrown in jail, whatever it is, but just a rash of them leaving office like a tornado was coming. And it was only one report that was real detailed, and I don't remember seeing it again, but I'm like, oh man, I can't wait for the day for that to come. And we may be inching towards that, where these people, like you said, they're like in life and death mode right now. And if he gets Sessions in there to actually start doing something about this, they'll realize, oh God, they know who we are.
They've already started, they've started arresting the lower, kind of the functionary people who brought the kids over and would arrange that these rich and famous people would have a constant supply of young children.
Yep.
It is so sad. And just announced today, I didn't get the full article in the UK. Some church for it was a retreat for women who were pregnant out of wedlock or something like that, and they found just hundreds of dead bodies, skeletons in the basement of this place. Really horrific stuff. That stuff would have been covered up before Trump was in there. And now all this stuff is coming out, and it's just so hard to think about and talk about. I used to talk a little about the Pizzagate until it just gets so upsetting. And there's great, like Sean at SGT Report is still fighting that fight, and he's still on the air, thank God. But it's just such a hard fight to fight, and I'm behind everybody who's fighting it. I just can't get my brain into it anymore because it's just so horrific.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, but I was just someone sent me an email, 2 days ago, and said, "Hey, it's a good thing you stopped, because I've told everyone vocally, look, I'm not covering that. I'm also not doing the hoax, whether they're the fake shooting type stuff, Sandy Hook stuff. I said I'll leave it all alone. I deleted a bunch of my old videos that had anything to do with that. I'm not focused on that stuff, and." Took some flack for it, but someone emailed me and goes, "Hey, it was a good move. Check this out." Sent me a link to a YouTube video of a guy's decent, pretty high subscriber base. I forget his name, but he was talking about
natural news. Yeah.
That wasn't him. What natural news?
They didn't. Somebody else. They erased all his stuff.
No, yeah, they put him. He got it back though. He's back online. He's back on Natural News is back.
That was odd. Google pulled all this stuff off.
Yeah, but this guy said, look, David Seaman's covering this stuff. He's like, I'll be honest, when some of the stuff he was getting new, I was just like, okay, I'm not going there. I don't believe in that. He's like, but I started seeing a few things that he saw that I was able to verify. So I started digging deeper and I started doing some more videos. He said, I think they went after me. He's like, my server got knocked down, and this happened, and my computer was messed
Oh
up,
yeah.
and he was having some major problems. He was like, man, I think they're going after me now. This guy who's like kind of saying that David Seaman, forget that guy, you know. He's like, there's something to this. I think they're going after me now. So the guy was sending me the email saying, hey, good thing you didn't do that because that could be you right now dealing with all that crap. And I will say this to people out there, I do have a family, a wife and kids, and I don't want any trouble with it. But like I said, there's a lot of people. A lot of people that are doing a phenomenal job on YouTube. And even if I decided I'm going out with the bang, I'm going to go crazy on Pizzagate
I'm bringing everybody down with me.
I just couldn't do as good as some of these people out there. For whatever reason, I just don't. I do some things very well, but that's not one of them. These people are finding stuff that I'm thinking, oh my God, how'd they find that? Yeah. Phenomenal. So, let those, people deal with that stuff. I don't want to focus on that.
And truthfully, we don't need any more proof. There's so much proof out there. And the FBI files from Uma Abedin.
And Anthony Weiner's laptop, whatever happened to that? Remember?
Oh,
yeah. Life insurance folder.
That's the final card being played in this game of poker between the left and the right. It's not even left and the right. The left, right, criminals, and the good
Trump.
guys.
Yeah.
The good guys.
The good guys.
That you love. The Trump people. They're attacking the Trump people, but at the end of the day, that's the ace in the hole. The very last card that will be played is said, okay, you guys are so good and so brilliant, and you think you're trying to corner us. Here's 10,000 files of videos and pictures and emails and phone conversations of all of you guys committing crimes against humanity. How do you like those apples? And then it's over. It's completely over, and the moral left will have no standing at all. And then we can start fresh. I think ultimately it has to happen, but I just don't know when. I wish it would happen sooner rather than later. I'm tired of all the criminality, especially in the markets and especially in the bad stuff. But that I don't deal with that stuff on a daily basis. In the markets, I deal on a daily basis, and watching so many silver investors get kind of downtrodden and
had enough, and when's this going to end? And
move into Bitcoin. They said, "Oh, what? I need to buy some Bitcoin."
And isn't it amazing how Bitcoin?
I'm selling some Bitcoin to buy some silver right now because I want to keep a 50-50 relationship, and Bitcoin's gone up like 500%, and I'm like, my ratio's off. I got to.
Well, when you sent that email, I was I read it. I went and clicked on it. I was like, holy crap! I went and found the full news story. Wow, he's right. I'm like, man. And then it just for whatever reason, it had nothing to do with Bitcoin, but it made me think your road to root of theory and some other stuff. And I'm like, let me go check Bitcoin's price for a second. Oh my God, it's 1290. At the time I looked, it was 1290. And I was like, well, maybe it hit 1291. I didn't go any further, but I'm like, wow, 1290. What bot? Let me go check the Chinese, 88. Oh my goodness. Okay, I said, I'm going to go buy. I know it's going to cost me about $1,300 to buy it on Coinbase because there's a little fee, small fee.
Oh, yeah.
But I was like, I'm going to go buy another one. Friday night, Evelyn, I just bought another Bitcoin. Just FYI, if you see the bank account, that's what it's for. $1,300 to get knocked out of there. That's what it's for.
You don't have to buy a full Bitcoin. You can buy like $100 with the Bitcoin.
I can't. No, I'm a round number kind of guy. All right, I got to get a full Bitcoin. Because if we see these numbers and the webbot's been unbelievable with the price moves, it's like insane. And I think that's the thing. If there wasn't the manipulation going on with precious metals, I bet he'd be spot on with everything he said, and the timing would have been phenomenal.
And Bitcoin wouldn't be doing as well. It'd still be doing well, but because there is no the powers that be are not showing us what the real options are outside of the unbacked fiat system. That's why Bitcoin sprang up. We need it for the transition. We need gold and silver too, but they're not letting it go. The moment they let it go, the game's over, and all of a sudden the system shuts down. So then what do we do? Hang on to your physical silver. Hang on to your physical gold if you believe in gold. I'm not a big gold believer. I'm a silver believer.
Me too.
I think there's a lot more gold than they're telling us. I think they've been lying for years. But Bitcoin is great. And I was down in Mexico at the Anarchapulco conference. These are like anarchists with brains, basically.
How was that, good?
Oh, it was unbelievable. It was so cool, and these people are so smart and fun, and they're just living a different way of life, and they're exposing it to the world through YouTube, and most of them are YouTube stars and have all these great ideas on how to change the world. And I'm like in awe going, yeah, I just fight this little tiny silver battle and you guys
Right.
are you're fighting the man. I love it. So I had a
That's
great
cool.
time. Yeah. But Bitcoin was gigantic down there. So yeah, it was fun.
I bet. I guess Jeff Berwick was probably there too, right? From a
Oh yeah.
dollar vigilante. He kind of set that up, didn't he?
Yeah, he's the guy who runs it, and he was busy as hell, and he doesn't like being busy. So he's like, this sucks. I gotta do this or that, this. But it was a great time. Everybody had fun. I'm definitely going again next year. I think this was the third year, and then we'll get you guys down there.
Same
Bring your
spot?
wife down. You can hang out with me and Amy, and we had a little gang of the married folk hanging out in the corner.
That'll be us. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's down Acapulco, and so yeah, obviously it's early. I'm still recovering. Came back with a little Montezuma's revenge, I think. I've been sitting on the old throne thinking about life these days.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, yeah, like I said, I just want to reach out and just kind of have you hash out what exactly happened to let my subscribers know, like what this might mean. We were not going to say for certain yet, but what it might mean. This is a very good sign.
It's a sign. Yeah. If you take it for anything, take it as a sign that they're in trouble and that the system is the electronic exchange system for silver is breaking down, and they need to find a new system. And they even said they don't know when they're going to find it. So hopefully they'll never find it. And we could have a free market for silver.
Yep. And on that note, I guess we'll end this video. Appreciate you coming on. Everybody, I'm going to put the link down to Ted Butler's article too, that long one.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. I think that needs to be understood as well with what you talked about with the CME group and the LBMA.
And buy Cliff's report. The new report's out. It's great. $15. You can't beat it.
Yeah, and I've got one of my subscribers like, hey, Cliff emails me, hey Joe, someone bought 4 of them and said for you to just give them out to some of your subscribers. So in my video earlier today, I was like, hey everybody, just if you don't have one and you can't afford one, say something. Let me send you one. So
did you pick who you're gonna send?
I've got a couple so far. I got to pick 2 more.
All right. What do they have to go on your YouTube channel and just beg in the comments?
Basically, yeah, and I'll just kind of pick someone and say, okay, hey, email me at my website, and then I'll give it to you that way. Yeah, it's $15. I think, man, that's lunch for one day. You're going out to lunch somewhere. It's one day, but the guy puts a good
idea though. That's really cool, and it helps Cliff. I'll do that. I'll buy some reports and send them out. Good idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
So I did. As a matter of fact, it was last month or the one before that. Someone. Maybe it's the same guy. He's like, he's like, I'll put me down for 2, and I'm like, well, I myself did 2 also. I was like, well, let me do another one, and someone in the Cliff did one, and next thing I know, I was handing out like 6 or 7 or so of them. It was really cool, because I understand there's people out there that just are struggling, and they happen to be our subscribers. There's people of all walks of life, so it's good to help people out when we can. So
I agree.
All right, well, we'll see what this week brings, if anything new. But anyways, I had to reach out to you. I had to get the old big swear on to lay down not the law, but lay down what's really going on.
The dirt.
Yeah, the dirt. So
hey, it's great talking to you. Have a good weekend, and I'll watch it. I watch you every day. I love it. I've been doing a lot more YouTube lately.
I've been watching you. Yeah, I saw it.
It's fun. It's fun, and
it's a good platform.
I got a lot of people with feedback saying, I don't want to read anything anymore. I just want to put my headset on, go to work, and listen to people talk. So
I get it all the time.
Do a lot of it.
Yep. Yeah. So, all right, Bix, take care.
All right. Talk to you later.
See ya.